in brand new remastered Technicolor.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome to Two Queers.
One pod.
I'm Bridie,
I'm Imogen.
and today we are talking about love languages, specifically the love languages quiz.
And the book.
So, yeah, we're talking about the love languages quiz today. So basically, someone wrote a book one time and came up with 5 primary love languages. So then you take a quiz. You go through about, I would say, I feel like it was about 30 questions, kind of weighing up, you know, which element of these categories you fall into most. But yeah, Immi, do you want to explain the five categories?
Categories?
Categories? Bloody hell.
I think that's a city in Canada, isn't it?
What, categories?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Category.
I've been there.
It was a good holiday. So the 5 love languages are, in no particular order, words of affirmation. So verbal expressions of care and affection. Gifts. Oh, fuck, this runs out because I'm not subscribed to Oprah magazine. Bear with. Words of affirmation, which is verbally being nice to each other.
Yep.
Physical touch.
Yep.
Physically touching each other. Quality time, spending uninterrupted time with the person that you care about. Acts of service, which is someone doing something helpful for you. And receiving gifts, which is another one which is fairly self-explanatory. And so the theory is that everyone values these things differently. And although, like, I think a lot of people would argue that there are other ways of showing love, these are kind of 5 good categories to figure out the people in your life. What do they prioritise most? And so what will they see as the biggest indicators of love and affection?
Yes.
Because I remember when I was younger, my mum said something along the lines of, if you've got 2 people in a relationship and one of them is like a telling them you love them type person and the other one is a showing them you love them type person, then neither one of them is ever going to feel loved because the other one is waiting for them to be told that you love them, and the other one is kind of waiting for, like, the words don't have as much effect, they're waiting for like other signs that you care for them. And this is like an extension on
It's very
that.
wise. A good thing to get. Yeah, a good thing to get told at a young age, I think, because it's quite. I wish someone had told me that. It saved me a lot of time.
But like it does work in all relationships. Like, I have a particular friend who I would say that her primary love language is like giving and receiving gifts. So you can kind of tell her that you love her and support her and appreciate her all day, every day, but it won't have anywhere near as much of an impact as if you like send her a present or something.
Yeah.
That's really what you can do to make her feel loved and cherished.
And thought about
Yeah.
that you've made
Which is
those
tricky
kind of
when you have no
steps.
money.
Yes.
But it doesn't really matter what size of thing it is. It's that kind of like saw this and thought of you type thing. It means the absolute world to her
Yeah.
in a way that it wouldn't necessarily be my top thing. I will appreciate it. I'll enjoy it. Yay, presents. But like, it wouldn't be a top thing for me.
No.
So we were going to talk about what our answers are and like how that shows up in our day-to-day lives and relationships and stuff, I guess.
Shall I go first or do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, I'll work from, I guess, bottom to top. So yeah, I did the quiz and it kind of asks you questions along the lines of like, do you prefer when? And then it has sort of 2 options. Sometimes it's like receiving a token of someone that they've picked up throughout their day that shows they're thinking about you, or it's like when someone like puts their arm around you or something, and it kind of follows on like that. Yeah, so my least, I guess, favourite love language, or like least necessary, is receiving gifts, which is interesting because I'm not averse to receiving gifts.
Well, that's the thing. It's just your lowest priority and like what means the most to you.
Like, I'm one of those people that feels really uncomfortable on their birthday and on Christmas because you've got, like, I love it and I think it's so sweet, but you've got people like staring at you, giving you a thing that they've thought about you to buy, and then you have to kind of open it and like react in a way that makes them happy, and it just makes me very like itchy.
See, there was a thing when I was younger where people would bring a birthday present to a birthday party, and it was assumed that you wouldn't open the presents in front of people. You would keep them, you would say thank you, and then they'd like sit in the corner, and then when everyone left, you'd open them. And I want to bring that back. Like,
Please!
I don't want to open presents in front of people. That's so awkward. Even reading a card in front of other people. Because then if you react to it, you feel like you should share it with the group. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that.
That is my thing. Like, when I get a card from like a friend, I know that they've written like 8 paragraphs in it, which is so lovely. But I'm just like, I'm not reading this in front of you guys. It's not your business. And also, receiving gifts for me is at 10%. But I love giving someone a present. So it's interesting because I don't like the whole like performance around receiving them, but giving them, and I love like thinking about something specific for somebody.
You're so good at presents.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But I also don't really like them opening it in front of me. And if they ask, I'm like, oh no, you're absolutely fine to open up in your own time. Just like pop me a message when you have or something if you want to, unless you hate it so much that you can't speak to me ever again, which is unlikely because I am the best at buying presents. Okay, so that's bottom. Second from the bottom is physical touch. So 10% was receiving gifts. 17% is physical touch. To be honest, like I don't mind being touched. Obviously, I'm a human animal with needs. However, there is a time and a place. I don't like, even if it's like a close family member, unless I'm prepped that they're about to like give me a hug. I'm sorry, not prepped in the literal sense. Mentally aware and
prepared.
Yeah,
That's
so
fine.
It's like I can't think of an example off the bat, but like I have been known, especially around Christmas and New Year when my anxiety is like up the roof. If I get like crowded, or if someone like tries to like, especially when they're drunk and I'm not, kind of, and even if it is someone that I love very dearly, if they kind of like pile over me, I get really like, get off. Don't know why, but that is something that I've noticed.
It's allowed.
Yeah, and I just don't really like if someone says like, oh, can I give you a hug before you go? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that, but it's more just the kind of like
consent.
Yeah, I kind of like jolt almost. I feel myself being like, get off. And yeah, and in that I don't go to like touch people often, in the sense of like when you're just having a conversation and you kind of like, that's not, I don't really tap someone on the shoulder. Only, and I'm kind of going back on myself, but it's kind of like when I'm drunk, I'll be like, I love you so much. And giving people hugs. So I do need to take a leaf out of my own book with that. But it's not, yeah, and it's
Drunk people are like that though, aren't they?
No, exactly. I do love like a nice like friend or family member hug that is like consented and lovely. Like, it can't beat a good hug. Some of the questions kind of said, do you prefer ABC or a hug? And I'm like, always a hug. Perhaps with this year, haven't been able to hug many people, which is shit. Because, to be honest, a lot of the time when I've been feeling bad in the last couple of months, I've just been like, all I want's a fucking hug. I'm not going to ask my boss, but someone please. Anyway, so yeah, physical touch is kind of, to be fair, that the next 2 out of the 5, the middle 2 are both at 23%. So I guess that's not too far above 17. So I guess they're all kind of in the middle of each other. So yeah, the next 2 are words of affirmation and acts of service. So that's kind of, you know, someone, yeah, it's self-explanatory. Or someone doing something for me.
Something.
Yes, it's not so much like I'm like bossing people around, do this. But if I'm
no, it's not.
If I'm already kind of if someone just helps me out while I'm doing something, or someone comes up to me and kind of notices that because I do have the tendency to overwork myself almost on a daily basis when I'm out in the public anyway. It's someone coming up to me and being like, can I give you a hand? Or do you need a bit of help with that? For example, my mum is a diamond for booking all of my appointments ever. It's got to the point where even if it's quite like a personal thing, I will often come to her with it because it takes a lot for me to phone up the doctors. I have like a whole thing with the doctors in the hospital, which isn't uncommon, but it's a real... she just books all my appointments for me. And that to me is an act of, I guess, service that really, really helps me out and she offers to do it because she, if
well, it's her thing as well, isn't it? That's how she knows that she can help you.
Exactly, yeah.
My mum's very similar.
Yeah, and she will, if there's like a problem, and like there's been times in the past where I've been on medications and they haven't been able to source it at the right time. She is, and sometimes it's a bit like mum, it isn't the person on the other end of the phone's fault, but she has been able, in her own way, to get the things that I need 4 times out of 5, which I'm very grateful for. So that's great. Words of affirmation, with me, I hate praise. I don't hate it. I just don't know how to react to it. It makes me uncomfortable. I do like it. It's one of those things where it's like, I like it, but it's more the outward reaction to somebody who is giving me these words. I don't think that I can kind of match what they are putting to me. Like I can't show the appreciation at the same level. Because it doesn't make me cringe. It just makes me like, ooh, like, I don't know. That's another thing that I've yet to kind of figure out about myself. But there's something about it that just makes me a bit like, ooh, no, not the biggest fan, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a hard thing to know how to take a compliment or how to take praise and nice words and stuff. And also I think that you can be a bit underconfident in your own verbal abilities to make or get the point across that you want to make. Yeah. So maybe that's part of it as well. Yeah,
potentially. And then my number one, so just to go through, so it was 10% receiving gifts, 17% physical touch, 23% words of affirmation and acts of service, and then a whopping 27%. So it's not too high above the others, but 27% is quality time. And just it's given me like a little brief sum up of myself, apparently. So nothing says I love you like full undivided attention. Being there for this type of person is critical, but really being there with the TV off, fork and knife down. I don't understand how that's relevant. You can eat. I don't mind you eating around me. Anyway. And all the chores and tasks on standby makes you feel truly special and loved. Not so sure about that. That would probably make me quite anxious.
I suppose it's like not being on your phone.
Yeah. I have been known to kind of, when I'm not in a good mood, I've been known to get agitated when people are on their phones around me. But that's more of me being like, normally I wouldn't care. Normally I'm on my phone. But sometimes it's my lack of communication skills in to be able to say like, I'm not doing great. I would like to hang out with you, but like be in the room together. Does that make sense? But
absolutely. But yeah, I think it can be really difficult for the old self-confidence if you feel like someone that you're supposed to be spending time with is not spending time with you.
Yeah, and
is like on their phone and talking to somebody else or whatever.
For sure, yeah, exactly. And like it's not that I never do that, because I know that I do. And it isn't, I don't constantly need someone to like not have any external factors going on, but I think it's more just when I feel particularly like, I guess, vulnerable and like just a bit down, it would make me feel better.
You do also have ADHD though.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that is to be taken into consideration with the fact that you can be on your phone sometimes. I know that you're kind of one of the few people in my life that it doesn't bother me with. Only because I've had like some bad experiences with people who have been persistently on their phone, and just it made me feel like shit. See, like, no offense, but to the person if they are listening, but like, see my entire last relationship, that was like,
a massive thing, because it wasn't just like a little bit, it was just like all the time, to the point where I would just be sat there like, should I even be here?
And also the person in question is known for having like a decent attention span. Like they're really nerdy and like can do, you know, can be really interested in something for a long period of time. So the idea that they're so distracted and diverted is quite easy to take offence at. Whereas on the flip side with you, because you do have that sort of like slightly ping-pongy brain, not in a bad way,
Slightly
at all.
No, I don't take offence at all.
But like that means that to me, if you were on your phone, I don't take offence to it in the way that I would potentially other people.
Sure.
If I'm like, I'm talking to you. Whereas with you, I know that actually you're probably listening to me better if you're scrolling on your phone. And that's an ADHD thing.
For sure. It's like, you know, I'm either on my phone and listening to you, or I'm like not looking, like I don't often look directly into people's eyes throughout an entire conversation. It's easier on here because we're both kind of not looking in each other's eyes. We're kind of looking like, that's me looking in your, you know what I mean?
Looking right in the camera. For Patreon viewers, that would be fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Proceed with caution. But no, yeah, just to go back, like, it doesn't bother me if I'm hanging out with someone, and I guess it depends who that person is. It sometimes annoys me when I go over to my family's house and they're all on their phones when I'm there, because it's more the like time in which I have with these people, versus, but it's all just, and then it comes back to me just feeling like, am I just being super like self-absorbed if I sort of turn up to this place and I'm like, why is no one like asking me how my day went? Why is no one? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think that's being self-absorbed.
It can sometimes feel like it, but I guess because it is my like primary love language, I see it at a higher stance than other people might, and that is actually a really useful thing about doing this quiz, because doing it with people who have got different results to me, it's like, oh, so it just shows that people have different priorities, I think. But yeah, so it just to finish off this little description, it just says that for me, I deepen my connection with others through sharing time. And I would say that's probably quite accurate, because I do love, like, when I have a plan with someone and we're like spending a whole day together, like I like to spend time with someone else, because I'm quite, I guess, an extrovert. And I think it's potentially an ADHD thing, I'm not entirely sure, but having that kind of I guess stimulation off from somebody else.
Yeah, like shared experiences is a really good like bonding,
for sure,
bonding activity.
But yeah, and to be honest, just to like round up my end of it, I would say that I do pretty much agree with this. I think it's fairly accurate. Doesn't necessarily tell me something I didn't know about myself, but I think the whole idea of that people can have different outcomes is super, super interesting. And potentially now going forward in my future relationships, I will make them do this quiz.
We'll just have a conversation around it as well.
Yeah, I want your star chart and I want your top 3 love languages.
Yeah, I need your mother's maiden name. I need the name of your first pet. And
no, that just sounds like you're trying to log into their bank account.
That was my joke, but that's fine.
Point over here, Bridie's all the way over there.
I'm just not very funny.
No, you're hilarious. Anyway, your turn.
Yeah, I need your time of birth and where you were born. And yeah, that's me. Right, so you started from the bottom. Mine is also receiving gifts at a whopping 3%.
Ticking you off
I
the
think
Christmas
I'm quite
list,
similar
then.
to you.
Joking.
I mean, genuinely, it wouldn't make any difference to me at all. Like, I still have your Christmas. It's on my little, like, not to sound too creepy, but on my little altar-y setup.
Love that.
It's my plate that I did for Lana's birthday last year, which says "Be Gay, Do Crimes."
Amazing, with all our fingerprints.
And there's some crystals and
I love that spoon.
my little Ouija spoon.
That's sweet though that you put it on your. I feel honoured that it's been put on your altar. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're sort of involved in 2 elements of that with the plate and the spoon. But yeah, so presents are lovely, but it really makes no odds to me. I don't feel less cherished if people don't buy me presents or give me presents and stuff. I think it can be a little bit awkward sometimes as well.
Oh,
And then, yeah, I've had people definitely try and buy my affection before as well, and I'm just not about that. I do really like choosing presents, but I'm very much of a sporadic present giver. Of like, if I see something and think of you, I'll get it.
yeah.
But when it comes to birthdays and Christmas and stuff, I don't find it easy to like come up with something organically. Really,
Yeah.
I do struggle with that.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I had an idea. So for your present this year, it's already in my phone notes because it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I've had this idea, and that's been there since like just after your birthday, and the same for like our other friends because that's the thing about Christmas is it always just sneaks up on you and you're like, I have like 20 people to buy presents for. I don't have but anyway, that's a whole other story. We can cover that in the Christmas episode.
Just get pissed and get worried about stuff.
Complain about capitalism.
Yeah, right. And so then I've got a joint, like, I suppose this is third place then, with words of affirmation and physical touch on 17%.
Okay.
Again, I think both of these can be a little bit hollow. And so that's my slightly more cynical side getting involved, of where obviously it's really nice for people to tell you that they love you. And I'm very free with my words of affection and affirmation and stuff. I feel like there's no point in leaving things unsaid in regards to if you think something nice about someone, why wouldn't you just say it?
Yeah.
I have been in a relationship where someone made a point of saying that they were so happy that we didn't feel the need to tell each other that we loved each other all the time. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't bring me joy. I could do with it a little more often.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. But generally speaking, I think both of those things, physical touch and words of affirmation, need to come with other things in order for it to feel truly like a love thing. Because you can say nice things all day. You can, give people hugs and whatever all day, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. And also because I'm not so great with the old like social conventions things, I know that people can lie and people can do hugs without necessarily having that emotional connection and stuff. And so it doesn't, I'm quite like you. With people I like and with consent, I'm very touchy-feely. I'm very affectionate, love a good hug, a kiss on the forehead, all of that kind of stuff. Super cute, love that. If I don't know you, or if we're not on that level, absolutely stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
It's not my fave thing.
I think I've been there when either I'm just going to make up a scenario, but it might be the scenario where we've been like stood outside of a pub, so we're like in the pub but we're stood outside of it, but we're still in public domain, and I feel like I've witnessed a scenario where some big bloke has walked past and like, when you just walk past a group of people outside a pub and you chat to them because everyone's drunk. I think I've witnessed someone like, I've just seen your face when someone tries to like just like put their arm around you, or like it's that kind of when a bigger person puts their arm around you and then like squeezes and almost like lifts you sort of a few inches off the floor, and then your face has just been like completely paralysed in fear. Or not even fear, it's like fear, it's like
disgust.
What the fuck? It's just that, and it's just a picture in my brain.
I make no apologies or efforts to disguise those sorts of feelings, because
No, exactly. Absolutely not. You shouldn't.
I used to when I was younger, and it never really did me any favours.
Exactly. Then the petrol girls came along.
Yeah, touch me again and I will fucking kill you. In case you are not aware, Petrol Girls, the band, sell merch of one of their songs, and I have a t-shirt which glows in the dark and it says, touch me again and I'll fucking kill you, and I wear it when I walk people's dogs.
It's an amazing purchase.
Yeah, 20 quid well spent. And it's all like, eco and ethical and all of that good stuff. But yeah, so I like them from people that I like, which is kind of the whole purpose of this quiz. And I wouldn't do without them. I would be really sad to not have hugs and for people to like not tell me that they love me and that, I'm not a piece of shit and stuff like that. Like that is important to me, but it comes with the higher ones that I think that's the most important for me, because then I've got 27% quality time. And I'm like you, I do think it's important, and that would be the people that I spend quality time with are absolutely my like top priority in the world. So that's like you, my mum, my brother, our mutual friend Lana, who we will allude to at many points during this whole podcast. We will get her on, because otherwise she's just going to be this like ephemeral phantom sense of just gothic cuteness.
She is real.
She is real, honest. She's not a joint hallucination. I mean, maybe she is. But anyway, but yeah, so that's basically it, really. Those are the people that I spend quality time with. And those are the people that I care about, because I am sort of not opposite to you, but I very much would identify myself as an introvert. I do not get energy from spending time with people. If I'm spending time with you, then in the nicest possible way, that is at a cost to me of some point.
I'm a vacuum.
No, that's not what I mean.
I know. No, I know.
It's not that. It's just that no matter who you are, no matter how much I love you, no matter how much it is an active decision to have you in my life because of how much I love you, spending time with other people is tiring for me.
Yeah.
Social interaction of any sort is tiring for me. And it's not anything negative to do with any of the people that I spend time with. It's just a fact. But that quality time is very important to me.
Yeah.
And so it is a decision that I make to spend those spoons and spend time with people.
Yeah.
But then because of the lack of spoons, that do I explain spoons?
Yeah. Glossary time.
Glossary time. Yeah, so spoons is like a shorthand within the chronic illness and mental illness and disabled community for kind of energy expenditure. I have a tattoo of a spoon, so that I always have an extra one. And so it's just a sense of like getting up costs you X amount of spoons, having a shower costs you a certain amount of spoons, but every day you have an allocation of spoons. I will endeavour to make a better explanation and put that on our Instagram at 2quiz1pod. There will be some kind of doodly infographic that I would either make myself or stolen from somewhere else. But it won't be stolen. It will be credited because I'm not an arsehole. But yeah, so because I struggle with energy levels and all of that kind of stuff, my number one at a whopping 37% is acts of service.
Yeah.
And so people doing things for me that I either can't do myself or would really rather not do myself.
Yeah.
Or if I have, because I have a really tricky tendency for burning myself out, I will throw myself into things head first and leave myself with nothing left to spare.
Yeah.
And so if people can like pick up the pieces from that, that's the ultimate, because that it directly contradicts my feelings about myself as being like a burden and like a void into which all goodness and energy goes to die, and like that kind of I know it's not true.
No,
but that's how I feel.
I completely
and so
get
if people
it.
do things to help me, then that contradicts it.
Yeah.
And so that shows me that people are willing and able and sometimes even happy to make up for the bits where I fall short.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel just more at peace and at home on the planet, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I know that sounds really heavy, but that's the truth of it, because it means everything that needs to get done does get done. And it's because people love me, not because I'm awful.
Yeah, you're definitely not awful. And I think it's one of those, that kind of willingness to help you out is helpful in two ways, because it gets the things that you need to do done. And I guess it also, shows that the things, although, because I know for me, if you can't get certain things done, they just seem like these massive, massive tasks. So you build them, and then someone being like, I can help you out with that, I guess minimises it for you as well. So you can see that I don't know if that's making any sense.
Yeah, well, it means that things can be done and that they're not insurmountable. And it's...
Yeah, but the fact that people are willing to help you then in turn shows that you do things for them.
Yeah, it's
and it's
teamwork.
kind of like, a quid pro quo basis.
Definitely. And like, kind of, I find it easy because I think one of the really tricky things with, like, particularly my brand of like mental illness and stuff is that there's actually very little that people can do to help really, like, directly. There's nothing people can do to like make me less depressed, make me less anxious, take away PTSD, deal with autism and whatever. There's nothing directly related to those things, but there's a lot in like the peripheral area of my life that people can do to make things easier. And that's an easier thing of kind of like, I know from my own knowing other people with mental illness and like disabilities and whatnot, you so desperately want to help the people that you care for. And sometimes they really can't kind of think of anything, or they can't verbalize what helps. And so I know that I can always just ask someone to make me a cup of tea, because that kind of almost gives them something to do. Yeah. It's not like busy work. It's not just making something up, but it makes you feel nice because you've got a cup of tea and someone's made you a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And then also they feel like they are actively contributing to your well-being.
Yeah.
And so it is like a win-win situation for that. And I think that's definitely the most meaningful thing for me, of like people just helping in that kind of community mindset of like not ever really having to be on your own, because I was so fiercely independent when I was younger and like aspired to be so completely independent and to not need to have help from anyone. And then here I am, at the ripe old age of 25, but having to really come to terms with the fact that I very much cannot survive on my own, which is sad, but also very human.
Yes.
And none of us can actually survive on our own. And so the fact that there are people just like me in my life that are happy and not just kind of begrudgingly to do stuff to help out, but we all pick up each other's shortfalls. We together, nothing gets missed. Yeah. Together we all have everything covered, and I think that's lovely, and that's the most important thing to me. And that's where words of affirmation and physical touch and stuff are lovely, but nothing will ever mean as much to me as making me feel less alone. Yeah, in that grander global sense.
Yeah, that's lovely. And I guess it's kind of like how you were saying that the words of affirmation is lovely, but it needs to be backed up with something else. I guess it's kind of like that whole deeds, not words. And because I was thinking about my results, and I think I don't. Whereas sometimes, like, words of affirmation and praise and things like that can make me feel uncomfortable, there have been times where I've been in sort of relationships and what have you in the past where I've really needed clear communication, and I found myself with people where they were almost offended or like begrudged by the fact that, and it's not, and even if you are the kind of person that needs to be told every day 5 things, doesn't make you a bad person. But mine wasn't as extreme as that, but it was the kind of, I guess that's that, but that shows the kind of clashing of priorities
that's
between
like the
people.
proper incompatibility
Yeah.
between people. If it really feels like, and I've had this, I've been the other person in that situation where I've been with someone that has needed far more reassurance than I could ever organically give someone.
Yeah.
It simply wouldn't occur to me to be that effusive with praise and affirmations and stuff day in, day out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not on me or on them. That's just an incompatibility thing of where I could have tried my absolute best to increase the amount I was verbally affirming our relationship and how much I cared about them and valued them and that kind of stuff. But I'm not entirely sure it ever would have been
enough.
Yeah. And that's just incompatibility. And that was the same in your relationship.
Yeah, and I think for me as well, a bit of it was also needing to come out of relationships altogether and kind of zone back into myself, because I kind of got myself into a trend where because I disliked myself to such a degree that I didn't trust myself to give me, the quality time with myself, the doing acts of service for myself, words of affirmation to myself. So I think
you needed it from elsewhere, and that person wasn't giving.
Well, it's
you
not,
as
and
much
it isn't
as
just
you needed
that individual. It's kind of
it's all the relationships.
A series of relationships kind of just lacked that thing. But I think part of the responsibility also fell on me to kind of take myself out of relying on other people, because I needed to kind of give myself some time with myself first.
Yeah, and
but it's really interesting.
That comes into this love languages thing of like your primary relationship is with yourself, and so now you know.
Yes, and thanks to lockdown, I've had so much quality time with myself this year, and
you are very lucky to have had such quality time with my best friend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I don't know, but the whole, because sometimes when I do these quizzes, I'm just like, well, that's a bit naff. But I actually really do think they're onto something with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I've not read the book. He could be absolutely full of crap. Yeah. But the kind of the cornerstones of different people experience love differently and have like different priorities of what they value in relationships feels like a fact.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like a sort of an opinion.
No.
Because even between the two of us, and we are very compatible, if I do say so myself, we have massive differences in how we experience things. And communicating those differences is one of the reasons that we have managed to stay friends and have such a good and strong friendship.
And I think we've got like a kind of built-in empathy and compassion for one another, and for, I would say, that's just a part of who we are, with anyone that we will come across. But I think that even though we are quite different, that kind of base, I guess, come as you are attitude is what is
we accept each other for our differences, even if we don't fully understand them. And that, I think, is a good attitude to have just in life in general. That you don't have to understand everything to respect it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of us in a nutshell.
There we go. So if anyone has exactly the same results as me, my DMs are open. I'm joking. That's another thing that's worth pointing out, is that, so would you be most compatible with someone who has the exact same...
Oh, do we have to read the book?
I don't want to.
I don't want to read the book. I don't know. We'll just have to do field work. We'll have to go and...
We'll do some test dummies once the pandemic's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For science.
For science.
I
don't think I can go and ask my ex-boyfriends to do it.
Into a Tinder profile.
Excuse me, do you mind just filling out this quiz? It's for science.
You got one of them to do it.
I did. And the results were amusing. For us both.
But yeah, so, it's for science after pandemic.
Yeah.
And, all of that science is out of the way. We'll get on to the real science.
Yes.
The real science of compatibility amongst neurodiverse people.
Yes.
As well, which is always worth
Roll
mentioning.
up.
Yeah, we'll just put our results into a Tinder profiles and then see what happens.
Sometimes when I am just like doing my daily business, that's not being on the toilet.
It did sound like that.
Just so you know. Just walking around, and I just say things to myself, as one does. And earlier I was coming in from doing a shop and I locked my door and I thought, I am literally the Phil Dunphy of a relationship. Because I was just thinking about, do you know Phil Dunphy? Do you know Modern Family?
I do. Which one's he? Is he the dad?
He's the dad, yeah. So I watched that over the lockdown and I was literally just like, I honestly relate to him so much. And it reminded me...
I'm the Sofia Vergara.
Huh?
I'm absolutely not Sofia Vergara, I wish.
Yeah. No, and there's his wife Claire. There's an episode where like their car like falls off a cliff or something, and like it's falling off the cliff, and then Claire's just like, "What's the plan, Phil?" And then he's just like, and that just feels like I'm Phil.
And just the whole world is asking you what's the plan.
But then it poses the question: could two Phil Dunphys work together, or do I need a Claire? Who knows? We'll find out.
Maybe that's what our book will be about.
Yes,
the 5 love languages as they relate to Modern Family. Although I'm not going to watch it. Maybe we can make it about another programme that we've both watched.
I do love Modern Family though. Oh, Pose.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
Just Ryan Murphy's whole back catalogue.
I owe Ryan Murphy so much. Honestly.
I think a lot of people probably do. I'm sure he's horribly problematic in a lot of ways, but
Yeah.
he's created some great TV. So that's our love languages. It's our priorities in love and life, and this has been a PSA for any other eligible people out there. Has this been a long, lonely hearts, Colin?
But yeah,
no, it hasn't, because this has really not been a selling point for either of us particularly.
Oh no, I think we're both endearing.
You're lovely.
But yeah, if you want to do the quiz yourself, all I did was type in love languages quiz on Google, but it is
something like the 5 love languages.com.
It's literally number 5 lovelanguages.com.
We'll link it in the episode.
We will, yeah. And then you just answer a bunch of questions, probably set aside 5 to 10 minutes, and then your results will come in. And it's just quite an interesting thing. And you can take it as a single person or as a couple. So if we have any couples listening, I hope we don't destroy your relationship. That was being serious, but listening to myself, that sounded so vindictive.
The cackle was
I'll leave that
real.
up to interpretation.
Oh dear.
Question of the week, yeah.
And our question of the week.
Yes. This is another case of me just walking along and thinking things to myself, and then I thought that was a hilarious story. How can I put that into the podcast organically? And it is, what is the weirdest compliment you've received? It doesn't have to be the weirdest if it's too much for, I don't know, people's ears. But just...
I'm still thinking, so you give yours. Because
okay, and I don't really want to give context to this.
No, don't.
But it was
no context is the best
hilarious. Once, when I was of age, I was about 20.
That context is important.
Yeah, I was doing the old thing, sending photos of myself to a potential suitor, and they came back with, "You have my favourite type of nipple." So I'm just going to leave that one there.
Oh, that's...
And what's weird, I'm just going to say this, even though it's probably not something I should put on the internet, but I don't care. It was a picture of my boob where I'd given... So my nipple was like the nose, and then I'd like drawn taken the picture and then drawn on the picture on my smartphone. Drawn a face and given it a little cowboy hat.
Fantastic.
So I'm like...
Excellent work.
And then I remember... And the only thing I'll say is I remember asking this person to explain.
Yeah, what types are there?
And they just didn't. They were just kind of like... Oh, don't worry. So yeah, that was an interesting time.
I'm not Googling it. I'm not Googling what types there are, but
I'm aware there are different types, but I was just kind of like, that's bizarre, but thank you and good night.
And good day, sir. Oh, I don't know if I don't think I have something like that. I don't.
That's okay. I just wanted to say, I just want to do Sweets to Tell that story,
that's
basically.
fine. I can't top that or get anywhere near
I'm trying
that.
to think if you've ever told me anything that's about yourself, but I don't think nothing. There will be something.
Oh, so many.
But
Because I get so many compliments. But no, it's
of course.
just, yeah.
No, mine's blanking.
Yeah. But that's fine. Anecdote of the week instead of question of the week.
Yes.
Bridie's anecdote.
Anecdote of the week.
So that's it.
Please don't. Yeah. I said please don't because I know that Harry's going to just auto-tune
Please
that.
do.
Or do something to it. But as soon as I said no, please do, because I don't want the unfiltered version to go out there. Anecdote of the week. Anecdote of the week.
So is that us? That's us in
I
our
think
love
that's-
languages.
Yeah. We are very lovable people, I promise.
In multiple languages.
Yes. 5, to be exact. Anyway.
Not that
We're both
hammering
tired
that home. And in case you're wondering, that was the 5, lovelanguages.com.
Yeah.
Hashtag not spawn.
Yes.
This episode was brought to you by not the 5 lovelanguages.com.
Yes. This was brought to you by me and Immi, Zoom, obviously Harry, our producer, Yeti microphones, because obviously we're in lockdown, so our lovely producer had to buy us new microphones to be able to do this. And I hope it sounds nice and crispy for you at home or wherever you are.
Crispy. Yeah.
Anyway, this is feeling really difficult to naturally wrap
What
up.
are we doing? Okay. Thank you very
do
much
it.
for listening. You've been listening to us, 2 Quiz 1 Pod. You can find us on Instagram at 2 Quiz 1 Pod, and on Patreon if you want to watch the Zoom footage back, which I'm sure will be beautiful.
Yeah, I believe our lowest tier is £1.50 a month.
Yeah, and then it goes up to £3 if you. Oh, sorry, £1.50 gets you behind the scenes footage. £3 gives you the videos. £5 gives you behind the scenes and the videos, and £50 is like the gold tier, gold star, have a
Legends.
cookie.
We will come to your house and
No.
let off a giant confetti
We
cannon.
absolutely
okay, no, we won't be
won't.
doing that.
We absolutely. If you want more information, it is on the internet. Patreon.
And
2 Quiz 1
and we will
Pod.
be using if we hopefully we will get people subscribing. I mean, we already have, but like our ambition with sort of the support that we get through Patreon is to then be able to put out lovely merch bits for people, mostly ourselves.
Like stickers and stuff.
Yeah, stickers, potentially like mugs, t-shirts, all the rest of it. But because we're just a couple of creative beans and we just want to do all the stuff, but obviously it depends on the public support, as does everything.
What are we doing? What is this?
I don't know. This is on. I feel like I've blacked out for about 7 minutes. But that's
This
okay.
is a mess. I'm sorry, Harry.
That's all right. Maybe this is our charm. Anyway, right. Let's literally finish it now.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.
This podcast was produced by Harry Williams.